မင်္ဂလာပါခင်ဗျာကျွန်တော်အခုရောက်ရှိနေတာတော့မြန်မာနိုင်ငံဆိုင်ရာနော်ဝေးသမကြီး Mrs. ထုံးတင်နာရဲ့နေမှာရောက်ရှိနေပါတယ် Mrs. ထုံးတင်နာပေါ်မှာပြည်မှာတန်အမတ်ကြီးအနေနဲ့၄နှစ်တာဝန်ထမ်းဆောင်ခဲ့ပြီးတော့အခုချိန်မှာဆိုရင်တော့တာဝန်ကပြီးဆုံးလို့ပုံမှန်ပြန်လဲထွက်ကြတော့မှာဖြစ်ပါတယ်ကျွန်တော်အနေနဲ့ဒီနေ့တွေ့ဆုံမင်းများမှာတော့နော်ဝေးနိုင်ငံမှာမြန်မာနိုင်ငံမှာengagement ပေါ့နော်ထားတဲ့ policy အထူးသဖြင့်တော့ငြိမ်းချမ်းရေးကျွန်တော်တို့ democracy ရေးနောက်တစ်ခုကတော့ပြည်ပြင်ပြောင်းလဲရေးတွေနောက်တစ်ခုကတော့ကျွန်တော်တို့ဒီ sustainable development လို့ခေါ်တဲ့အရာတွေမှာဘာတွေလှုပ်ဆောင်နေတယ်ဘာတွေအောင်မြင်ခဲ့တယ်ဘာတွေလှုပ်ဖို့ကြံနေဆိုတာကိုမေးမြန်းသွားမှာဖြစ်ပါတယ်ခင်ဗျ Thank you madam like I am Norway engagement in Burma, since 1956 we have a diplomatic relation and Norwegian embassy opened in 2013 and you've been here for last 4 years and Norway has a policy that Norway is very famous for Burmese, especially Nobel Peace Prize. So your 4-year term here, what have you achieved in terms of peace, democratization, and also reform effort in Myanmar, and also what need to be done more to realize this, engagement?
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for coming and taking your time and talking to me. As you said, I've been here in Myanmar now for 4 years. Been a very interesting time. I've been here between the two elections. I missed the election in 2015. I will miss the election in 2020, but it's been a very, very interesting time. I think what I wanted when I came in September 2016 was first of all to continue to build a strong relationship between our two countries and between people in the two countries. And then we wanted to see also how Norway could offer some assistance in different areas. Like you said, in the peace process, management of natural resources, and a number of other areas as well. And it has been very interesting years, as I said. I think that we have worked on the peace process. We have been able to provide some support. We have provided support to the joint monitoring ceasefire mechanism. We have had a number of study trips with Myanmar participants to Norway. They have learned from peace processes in other countries. On sustainable development, we have a very good working relationship with many ministries on hydropower, on environment, on petroleum management, and also fisheries. So I think that we have worked on many areas and we have expanded the cooperation with Myanmar since I arrived here.
Okay. What are the major achievements? I know that peace is a long way to go. What are the key challenges? How do we overcome, those challenges and in the near future to realize, fulfill the peace process in this country?
I think with the peace process, it's more difficult in Myanmar than in most other countries, because here the conflict has gone on for such a long time, for decades. And there are so many actors involved as well, almost around 20 different ethnic groups involved. I'm very glad to see that the ceasefire agreement, the NCA, was signed in 2015. And what we have tried is to help to implement NCA. And I think it's some progress. I'm happy to see that during the last years. I'm very glad to know that there will be a new peace conference very soon, and I really hope that they are able to sign an agreement so they can continue this process after the election.
Okay. When you talk about election, as you know, Myanmar Burma have hosted the election in November 8. Also, one significant thing is we have very young voters. There are eligible 37 million voters, like around 50 million are under 30, and the 5 million are the youth, first-time voter. What do you expect, in terms of democratization? Elections are very important, especially those young people related to election. What do you expect Myanmar democratization regarding this election, particularly for the role of the young people in this country?
So what we want to see a free and fair election in 2020. We hope that the security situation in all parts of Myanmar is so good that it's possible to have the election everywhere, also in Rakhine. We think it's very important to engage young voters, because the experience from Norway is that if people start to vote, they continue to vote. And taking part in an election is a very important part of the democracy. So we really hope that it will be an interesting debate who will kind of lead to a high degree of participation in the election. And as I said, it's very important to get the young voters to start to vote.
And also Norway promote, every aspect of peace or democratization, the participation of women. What have you achieved, during the last 4 years compared with previous year? And also, what do you like to see more of the woman involvement in both, political process, peace process, and also democratization in this country?
So I think that experience shows that when women participate in peace processes on the same basis as men, you have more sustainable peace agreements, because you have all voices around the table. And I think Myanmar is kind of improving in that context. There are more female and women participants in the Panglong Conference and also in the peace process. I'm glad to see that. But it's still not sufficient. Should be more women taking part. I also think it's very important that women take part in the discussion, not only about health and services and education, but they also take part in the discussion about security issues and also economy issues. And especially on security, it's very often that they are victims of conflicts, and they have very important contributions to the discussion. So I hope to see more women taking part in the process, and also be invited to discussions of all different topics.
Okay, when you mentioned about women and security issues, congratulations, Norway is in the Security Council, and also Norway agenda of promoting women and security. What do you expect? I mean, when Norwegian become a full member of Security Council, what can you do more to realize, or in particular in Myanmar, in Myanmar context, what are the most important issues to address in these particular issues?
Yeah, as you mentioned, Norway from 2021 and 22, Norway will be part of UN Security Council. And it's 20 years since last time we were a part of the Security Council, and we're very much looking forward to that. I think one of the topics that Norway would like to put on the agenda in the Security Council is exactly, as you mentioned, women, peace and security, because it's so important. And here in Myanmar, I think that we could, in the discussion in the Security Council, we can also draw good experiences from Myanmar. We have been working with UN Women, and together with the Ministry of Social Welfare and Relief and Resettlement. And we have in 3 different states, in Kayin, Kaya, and in Mon State, we have worked with the different state parliament, and we have developed women, peace and development strategies and plans. And I think that's a very good example on how you can do things, also on the state level. It gives the basis for a good discussion on women, peace and security issues, also on the state level.
Okay, in terms of sustainable development and management, now we engage in 2 particular areas, one in energy and one in fishery. And there were the research vessel here, and then they do survey. What do we need to do more in terms of energy, especially in electricity? Because now it's increased, but we are not. We can only produce 50%. What are the what should be long-term strategy in terms of sustainable energy? Also in terms of you have an engagement on fishery and development. What do we need to do more to realize that these are the sustainable development in these countries?
I'm very glad to see that there is a good cooperation between Myanmar and Norway when it comes to sustainable development of natural resources, because both our countries have a lot of natural resources, and it's important to develop it in a a way that is for the benefit of everyone that lives in the country, and where you have good tax incomes that could be spent for education and health and so on. So as you said, we work on hydropower. We are very glad to see that now 50% of the country has access to electricity. I think that's a very important achievement, really. And from the Norwegian experience and what we bring into the discussion is we want the energy supply to be sustainable, to use renewable energy. And that could be done in Myanmar because you have access to hydropower and you have access to solar power. So we think that's very, very important. On fishery, you mentioned the Norwegian research vessel who has been here. The first time it came was in the late 1970s, and it's been back several times. And the survey shows that the fish kind of resources of Myanmar has been reduced over time. So it's overfishing, partly of that is illegal fishing. So it's very important also to find a level of using that resources that is sustainable, and also that is what we are working on.
Okay, now you are already finished 4-year term. What are you going to miss the most about Burma, Myanmar when you leave?
I think it's very difficult to pinpoint, a few things, because I have really enjoyed my 4 years here. It has gone so fast. It feels like I almost arrived yesterday. I think what I take with me is this beautiful country and so many nice places to visit. But what I will very much miss, I think, is that Myanmar people, they are so friendly. They are so helpful and friendly, and I feel so welcomed in this country. And it's, I think that is what I will miss the most.
And also my last question, the Norwegian also encourage freedom of expression and also strengthening civil society. And what do we need to do more about this, freedom of expression and also strengthening the civil society? What do we need to more, and what do you would like to see in the near future?
I think that, again, looking at Norway, we see that having kind of a vibrant civil society with we have so many civil society organizations in Norway. We have so many of them. And I think for us, that's a very important part of our democracy because it engages people. Election engage people every fourth or fifth year, but civil society engage people every day. So that's, having a vibrant democracy, you need strong civil society organization. Also with freedom of expression and independent media, that's also a very important part of a democracy. Because you need to have information, you need to have discussions, you need to have different views, and you need to have an open space to to have that discussion and to express those views. I think in Myanmar, I think that it's a lot of things that has been achieved, but it's also a long way to go. Myanmar is a young democracy. Norway has had democracy for many years. So I'm happy to see that there are strong civil society organizations also here. I'm happy to see that there are independent media. But I think that journey is only in the start in Myanmar.
Okay, any message for Burmese Myanmar people in general? Your goodbye message to the Burmese people in general, especially in terms of peace and democracy in this country?
I think that my message would be that, first of all, this country has such a huge potential for economic and social development. I see a lot of good progress, and I will be follow the development to see more progress in the years to come. I think especially on conflict. Conflict in this country is is dividing people, and I think that one of the challenges is to build more closeness of people coming from different parts of the countries. And also to build a vision for the country as one nation to move forward. So I think that continue to work hard, understand the fantastic potential of the country, and I will be happy being in Norway and follow and see, and I expect more progress in the years to come.
Thank you very much, Mette.
Thank you very much for coming.